Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us at our second webinar about some of the upcoming products that we have. I'm very happy to see that we have around 30 listeners already. So strap in and we're going to talk about something new that's coming up. This is a new format that we are experimenting with a bit, a webinar talking about what we're working on and what are the new things that are coming up. So today I'm happy to talk about our new heater. We call it the HIVE Flow. So the name might give something away already. And I've called it this presentation as one of our mottos, in-house traditional sauna, or traditions through innovation. So what are we going to talk about today is how why did we create this product? Why did we create this heater? And how it turned out. And we will go through some technical details as well, why this was a challenge and took us quite a long time. I think this has been in development for over 3 years, but we are that much more excited that this is now ready to come to our customers, and we hope that everybody enjoys the heater as much as we did the challenge. So for us, of course, the challenge was the environmental impact, as at whom we are very environmentally conscious, and the impact on the environment is very, very important to us. Of course, we had to take into account the expectations of our customers, so all the feedback that we've received over the years. And of course, we wanted to keep things traditional, but also innovate and do something that perhaps many others don't want to do, or just choose not to do. So why the environmental impact? When we started this development, it's that the European Union and the countries within Europe set stricter requirements for solid fuel burning heaters, and a few examples of those are, of course, the German pinch and the European Eco Design regulation, which at the moment does not affect sauna heaters, but we expect that at one point it will. So we want to be ahead of that. So when we talk about regulations about wood burning heaters in Germany, we have the pinch 2 requirements, which set requirements for CO2 emissions and the efficiency, and of course the particulate matter emissions, so all the dust that would come out of the heater when burning wood. So quite strict regulations there as well. And the second one we have is the European Eco Design regulation, which is maybe not so strict on the CO2 emissions, but sets a higher expectancy on the efficiency, and also measures organic gases, compounds, and nitrogen oxide compounds in the flue gases. So these are the 2 main things that we had to take into account when we started developing our new heater. Of course, the customer expectations, innovation. So we at whom we try to be one step ahead of our competitors. At least we hope we are. And and try to do things a bit differently. I think about things a bit maybe long lasting and how everything impacts the environment around us. Of course, easier installation. So installation has been always a tricky part to do it correctly and have more options as well on how and where you can install our products. So we've addressed some of those questions as well. And of course, we wanted to keep our signature mild and long-lasting steam that we achieve through the big amount of rocks that or stones that we can put in our heaters. And this is where we got so the HIVE Flow and the HIVE Flow Mini, part of the HIVE Flow family. So this is how they look like. We have a bigger heater and a smaller heater. So we will talk about the technical details in a little bit, but this is how they look like. Both heaters have a regular and a model you can install through the wall. So here is a 3D animation of the bigger heater. And of course, for the mini one as well, a little bit slimmer in its design, but keeping to the traditional HIVE heater designs. So why why did this project take us so long, and what were the results? So we need to talk about the combustion of solid fuels a bit for you maybe to better understand, and of course how the combustion affects the environment. So usually in chemical formulas, we deal with complete combustion, where you have hydrocarbons reacting with oxygen and eventually produce carbon dioxide and water. But unfortunately, ideal conditions cannot be achieved in real life situations. So usually we have incomplete combustion. Burning wood means that you will always get dust particles, you will always get carbon monoxide, you will get nitrogen oxides, and all kinds of different organic gaseous compounds. And this is what the stricter regulations within the EU and its member states regulate quite a lot. So how much CO2 can you have? How much nitrogen oxides can you have in the flue gases when burning wood? And the closer you are to the complete combustion or the ideal combustion, the less of those byproducts there are. So this was a challenge, quite a big of a challenge for us. But why it's important for, so carbon monoxide, very big air pollutant, causes smog and damages the ozone layer, as we know, and of course is very poisonous to humans and other living organisms, and of course can cause chronic diseases when having exposed for a long time. So with the HIVE Flow, when we take the strictest requirement for the CO2 emissions, which is the PIMS requirement, it means that there can be under 0.1% of CO2 in the flue gases, or this is then measured to 1,250 milligrams per cubic meter. And we have achieved results where we have CO2 emissions with the bigger heater at 346 milligrams per cubic meter, and with the smaller one at 686. So for the smaller heater, we halved it, and for the bigger heater, almost 4 times less. than are the most strictest regulations in Europe. Then we have the nitrous oxides, which are the main cause, who are the main causes for acid rains, and ozone layer damage. Also very important to minimize the emissions of those compounds as well. And of course, for living organisms, they will also cause irritation in the respiratory systems, cause diseases there, and also affect the cardiovascular system. So quite important to keep those down as well. And we can, of course, understand why these regulations set such strict rules for nitrous oxides as well. And what we achieved is then almost negligible, when the lowest requirement for these emissions is less than 200 milligrams. So we have 68 and 81 for the bigger and the smaller heater respectively. So we're quite happy that that we have achieved such numbers. So very, very not disruptive for the environment. Then we have the particulate matter emissions, which seems like, so what if there is a little bit of dust coming through my chimney? But again, this is a very, it has a very big impact on the air quality around us. And of course, it hinders photosynthesis and affects the watery bodies and ground. So, for example, if we get a big layer of particulate matter dust on the ice, then eventually it will cause ground pollution as well, for example. And of course, breathing in any kind of dust particles will cause respiratory diseases, but from burning solid woods, it can also cause cardiovascular diseases, neurological diseases, and this, of course, it's cancerogenic. So it's important to keep those at a very low level. So the highest, the strictest requirement comes again from the German PIMS 2, which is less than 40 milligrams per cubic meter. And we have achieved them with HIVE Flow 70 milligrams, and with the HIVE Flow Mini a little bit less, 14 milligrams per cubic meter. So we're quite happy that this is a very environmentally friendly heater. The next requirement that also comes from the eco-design standard or regulation is for all different kinds of organic gaseous compounds. Those again cause a lot of air pollution, but also easily react with other elements in the nature, which can again cause pollution and cause damage to the ozone layer. And similarly to the dust particles, it can also cause respiratory and cardiovascular issues, and these compounds are also highly cancerogenic. So keeping those at a low level is again very important. So when it comes to this, so the European eco-design regulation states that there can be less than 120 milligrams per cubic meter in the emissions. So we have achieved 34 and 51 milligrams in our tests, verified by a third-party lab. So why does this happen? The burning is usually in 3 stages, or the combustion. So the primary stage, if you light the match, you can see that there is a yellow flame. So this is the burning of wood. where charcoal or carbon forms, it burns at around 600 degrees. And this is what, due to formation of charcoal or carbon, it also emits particles. The secondary combustion is then where the gases and the particles mix together with the oxygen and combust, and this already burns at 900 degrees. And the tertiary combustion, which is the cleanest of all, and this blue flame is an indication of complete combustion. It will burn all the particulate matter, it will burn all the residual gases, and leave us with CO2. And this burns at 1,200 degrees. So as you can see, to achieve complete combustion, very high temperatures are required. In addition to high temperatures, there is, of course, a correct amount of oxygen required. The fuel must be correct to achieve ideal combustion conditions. It requires, when we talk about the heaters, the correct shape of the burning chamber, and of course relies on environmental factors as well, such as wind outside, moisture outside, what's the temperature outside. So this is something that we cannot regulate too much, but we can take into account. And in our design, we also try to simulate all kinds of conditions. We tested it in all kinds of conditions, and the results are quite astounding, if I do say so myself. So, talking about the heater, here is a small drawing of a combustion chamber that to achieve the ideal combustion. So you have the primary, secondary, and tertiary burning, like on the illustration of the match. And when traditional heaters rely primarily on the primary and secondary combustion, then the tertiary combustion is not achieved, which means there is a high emission of particle matters, there is a lot of carbon monoxide emissions, and all the other compounds that we also mentioned. But this also means that there is a very low efficiency for the heaters. So a lot of the temperature that is created in the secondary combustion is released into the air through the flue gases into the chimney and then outside. So we wanted to change that, and our HIVE Flow ensures that all three stages of the combustion process are present there, and we try to achieve it as ideally as we could. So as you can see, air enters from the bottom. In the main chamber, the primary combustion, the burning of wood, takes place. After that, the gases and the particle matter, they combine again with the oxygen and start burning. And in the upper chamber, the tertiary combustion is also ensured, where the gases burn up all the remaining dust particles and chemical compounds that should not reach the air. And as I mentioned, this happens at a very high temperature. So we cannot have the flue gases with such a high temperature escape directly to the chimney. We need to cool them down. So the next chamber cools down the flue gases, which helps dissipate the heat into the stones and not into the chimney. And this is how we achieve a very high efficiency with this design. And of course, due to this design being quite revolutionary, we have a patent also pending for this design. When we talk about efficiency, so of course efficiency is how much heat from the burning stays in the sauna room and does not escape outside through the chimney. So this is calculated by measuring the temperature and the concentration of oxygen in the flue gases. And with our design, we have, in short, very high efficiency and by transferring at least 75% of the heat into the sauna room. So we have, of course, looked at what our competitors do, and we've tested quite a few of them in our labs as well. And I would say some competitors, unfortunately, have overstated their numbers. These, of course, are smaller competitors. And for example, we tested one heater that the declaration of performance states that flue gas is at 234, which means very high efficiency, that the flue gases are at low temperature, so under 300, which is 234 degrees. To achieve that, it's quite a feat. And what we measured is that flue gas temperature is 357 and oxygen levels at 14.3%, which gives it 62% efficiency instead of the 73 that was declared. And with the HIVE Flow LS, for example, we achieved 333 degrees centigrade in the flue gases, oxygen at 7.6%, which means efficiency of 82%. So 82% of the heat generated by burning the wood in the heater stays in the sauna room. And this means that with the same amount of wood, you can have 4 sauna sessions instead of 3. So that's quite a big jump. So we've talked about a little bit of the physics and the reasoning why we have created this new wood burning heater. So let's talk about a little bit about technical details as well of the heater itself then. So we have tested the heater in a lab in the Czech Republic, in Brno. And we have found that, of course, our new heaters are compliant with the PIMS requirements and the eco design regulation as well. And of course, the main standard that states how these tests have to be run. So the 15821 as well. When looking at the technical details, so these numbers here are what the standard requires us to state. Of course, the Flow and Flow LS can heat up a sauna room up to 18 cubic meters, but we are quite sure that it can heat up even a bigger room, and with the nominal heating capacity of 9.8 kilowatts. So instead of having a very large, big kilowatt heater, we can achieve the same results with smaller kilowatts. And with the Flow Mini as well, so 6 to 14 cubic meters at 8.5 kilowatts. The stones, classical number for home, so a huge amount of stones that gives you the nice steam and keeps the heater hot for quite a while. So we have 150 kilos for the Flow and Flow LS and 105 kilos for the Flow Mini and the Mini LS. And of course, the efficiency rated at least 75% for all 4 heaters. and the flue gas temperatures, which are important. So if you want to connect the heater, for example, to an existing chimney system, so some laws do not allow you to do it if the flue gas is over 400 degrees. So with our heaters, it's at 339 and 319 respectively for the bigger and the smaller version. So what can you expect in the box? So we have, of course, the heater itself, the metal grate, and we have the installation manuals, we have a heat resistant glove, some splints, fixing plates, a grate, cleaning hatches, and an ash drawer. But this is quite familiar if you've seen or used our previous heaters. What's a bit different is that we have reduced the safety distances to 150 millimeters from any combustible materials on the sides, from the front 500, and from the top only 1 meter. So you can install this heater in a quite low room as well. For those who really like, for example, paddle saunas. And what has allowed us to achieve such low safety distances is that thanks to the tertiary combustion being in the middle of the heater body and the cooling of the flue gases at the top, it means that the top of the heater doesn't get is not the place that gets the hottest, but the heat dissipates very evenly around the whole heater. So if you throw the water on the stones, for example, on the side, you get a very nice steam as well, just like you would when throwing water on the top. So it heats up very evenly. But what's different about this one is that we have thought about the placement of stones. So with this heater, the metal grate is made out of 2 pieces. So you can install the low part, fill it with rocks, and then install the top one, and then fill the rest with rocks. So this makes the installation and filling the rocks and changing them out a lot easier. So we have also listened to the feedback that a lot of our customers wanted to have the pad connection to the heater. So this is also possible. So you can choose if you want to connect it from the top or from the bottom, from the side or from the back. And all the necessary fixtures are included with the heater. So you can decide yourself how you want to connect it. So again, a little bit a small thing, but gives you so much more flexibility when installing the HIVE Flow. Now, when it comes to heating up the flow, so here is an example of the bigger version, the regular flow. So it's around 9 kilograms of wood. So you put in the initial batch and light it up and open the ash drawer. But the thing with the ash drawer is that it only opens up 3 millimeters, and that is all you need. We've seen people open up the ash drawer and keep it open, and then the heaters are working like rocket stoves, and eventually they will melt or damage the heater itself because the temperatures are so high. So now the design does not allow you to open the ash drawer more than 3 millimeters. And once you've put in the initial load, wait 15 minutes, you close that 3 millimeters, and then proceed in 60 minutes to add the next batch. And this is the ideal conditions that you will have the even heat spreading through the rock or the stones, and the lowest flue emissions that are required by the PIMS2 regulation. Of course, we have thought about maintenance as well. So there are 2 cleaning hatches that you can remove, and this is all, of course, stated in the manual as well. Yeah, and cleaning from the inside is also quite easy. You open the door, you can then remove the ash drawer and the grates, and very, very simple to clean out, and also compliant with all the fire safety regulations if you need to show it to an inspector. There are, of course, some selection of accessories like the floor protection plate that is installed in front of the door, and the protective bedding for the LS versions and the regular versions. There is a stone gauge that you can put on top of the heater as well, to even to increase the amount of stones even more. Also this should be familiar with our previous models as well. Then there is the stainless steel mounting collar and the black mounting color. So depending on what kind of aesthetic you are going for, if you have the LS model where the part goes through the wall, then you have options for installing those as well. And of course, there is a big selection of spare parts as well. So we try to think about every possible solution or situation and what the customers would need. So this is the HIVE Flow family. We are very excited. A lot of work has gone into it. Maybe some of you have visited us, our factory, and have already seen it, but have not yet been allowed to talk about it. So now we can talk about it. We are ready to start selling it, and I would personally say that this is one of the, if not the best, wood burning heaters in the world. So it really gives out very nice steam and is super efficient, and we love that it's great for the environment when it comes to wood burning heaters. So you're thinking when you can start buying this one in Europe. It will be made available in the beginning of July, so already quite soon, and in North America mid-July, so following quite closely behind Europe. And since the production is just kicking in, the first batches are limited, but we are ramping up the production. So contact our sales team. They will be super happy to help you. So sales@whom.eu, and let's enjoy the traditional sauna innovations that we have created here. So if you have any questions, use the Q&A, and I can already see 2 questions. So our colleague Ted is asking if we can turn it on from the distance. Yes, if you have a significant other that loves you very much, so you can always ask them to turn the heater on and get the sauna going. But no digital version, I'm afraid, for the wood burning yet. So Laura asks, can this presentation be downloaded? this will be publicly available on our YouTube channel. So once we are finished today, our marketing team will then upload it to YouTube. And from the chat, I see there is a question about what kind of a barrel sauna can this be installed in? What heater do we recommend for a sauna of 2.8 meters long and 2.05 meters in diameter? So I would say, I think even the Flow Mini would work there quite as nicely. So if you want a traditional wood burning heater, then the Flow Mini would, I think, work there quite nicely. So, but if we have any other questions, you can type them in the chat or use the Q&A, and I will answer them right away. So Ollie asks, do we expect the top plate of the stove to be much more durable than the HIVE wood models? Yes, we do expect it, and the chimney connection should be the same diameter as our previous models. Yes. So feel free to shoot any more questions. So Walter asks, do we have a wall protection if it stays at the corner? So it depends on how close you want to put it to the corner. So we have achieved very small safety distances from the combustible material. So it's 150 millimeters, so 15 centimeters. So it's quite close. So we've thought about it like in the design, and so you could put it as close as you can to the wall. So 150 is quite a small distance, in my opinion. And we didn't want to have like a reflector for this because it ruins a bit the aesthetic. So we very much like the HIVE design, but a reflector kind of ruins it. You can, of course, install some reflective material on the walls, so you can use either Cambridge type plating or some steel with enough like air spacing from the combustible materials. I think it's at least 3 centimeters, at least according to the Estonian law. So you would need to look into your fire safety regulations. Some require more, some less. But yeah, so 150 should be quite close to the corner as well. So just make sure it's the correct distance from all time. And is there a recommendation type for wood? So birch is definitely the best one you can use. And we definitely do not recommend using very dense wood because very dense wood will give out much more heat, and if you load the heater up as much as, for example, with birch, you will damage the heater as the temperatures are quite different. So the standards clearly say birch or similar or wood with similar characteristics. So let's see. Any change in, Source asks, any change in heat radiation? So the heat radiation, it's less less concentrated than our previous heaters because the heat is spread evenly across the heater. So you, with our last models, you could the most of the heat was concentrated in the top of the heater, and with this one, when you like use your hand to see what the temperatures are, you will definitely feel that it is very evenly heated up, like all across the heater. So this is something we've not seen like with any other heaters, where we are quite proud of that as well. So dash grill is a bit different than it was. So only asked about dash grill. If it's the same design as the previous side, it's a bit different because the design inside of the heater is different as well. So yeah, it's not exactly the same. Is there a safety railing? Currently, there is no safety railing available, but I will take Roland's. I will take that to our engineers and see if the customers will ask for it. Then we will definitely work on it. So Hannes, he wrote in questions in Estonian, so it's yeah. So the yes, he commented about the parallel sauna question. So yeah, he recommended the bigger heater, but I would say the HIVE Mini is also quite capable. So, but yeah, we would need to see the specific designs of the sauna to recommend it. Exactly. So we have how thick is the metal chamber parts? 5 millimeter steel. So it should be much more durable. What color is the heater? The color is black. But when you heat it up, it might change into a blackish gray due to the paint's characteristics. But all in all, it's the body itself is black, and the grate is the regular stainless steel silver. How much bigger is the glass? Urs asks. It's a bit bigger, but there is 2 layers of glass. So there is an outer layer and an inner layer. This was required to achieve the efficiency and the gases mixing inside. So it's it's quite an exact science that goes behind there. So we have the exterior of the glass door and the interior of the glass door. So there is 2 glass parts on the door. So any more questions? So in the manual and from our sales team, when you reach out to us, you will also get the full list of all the accessories. So I mentioned the main ones. We also have some new type of chimney sets, of course, with the new rear connection that we will make available. And of course, there are spare parts. The metal grates, the cleaning hatches, wood door handles, and so on and so on. So yeah, definitely reach out to our sales team. Let's see, we have another questions. So Anna asks, how do you clean the stove if the ashtray cannot be opened for more than 3 millimeters? So it cannot be opened more than 3 millimeters when you're operating it. So when the main door is closed, you cannot open it for more than 3 millimeters. As soon as you open the main door, then you can take out the full ashtray and clean it up. So this is just, yeah. So when the main door is closed, you cannot open the ashtray more than 3 millimeters. But as soon as you open it to clean it, you can take it out easily and clean all of it. I hope that answered your question. Mhm. Okay, any more questions? Okay, if no more questions, I thank you everybody that joined us today. I hope you are as excited as we are because there is a lot of work that has gone into this and a lot of love. So we hope you enjoy it as much as we have enjoyed making it. And yeah, reach out to our sales teams and ask around. So maybe you are in the first round of people who will get one. So. And if you're eager and want to try it out, so reach out to our sales team and ask to visit our factory. And definitely, there's a chance to try it out here. But okay, thank you so much, and have a lovely evening and or a morning, depends on where you're listening from. And we'll see you in our next webinar somewhere down the line. When we will talk about even more new things coming up. Have a lovely evening.